After Laravel 8, there were a lot of changes related with different things like factories, routes, model locations, and so on. And even when we were addressing some of the differences during this video, we are going to be addressing all, let's say, understanding the way as the new Laravel routes work. And in the way we are going to see, so how can we upgrade from an old version of Laravel routes to the new version after Laravel 8. It is quite possible that you read a document or any documentation, you are following any course, any tutorial, and so on, that is still using the old syntaxes of the routes. And that is okay because there is not a lot of complexity in the case of you need to change that to Laravel 8. And that is exactly what I'm going to show you during this video, how you can upgrade a set of routes or only one route, doesn't matter how many of them are, from Laravel 7 or previous to Laravel 8 or higher version. So let's just start. We have here a fresh version of Laravel 8, basically a fresh install. And if you check in the routes, we have web.php, and that is the regular route that you have for your new project. So what we are going to do is to change this to basically route get, and then we are going to do basically the same for the route path. And we are going to say that this is going to be on test controller at hello. We are going to create a pretty simple thing. Now, this is basically the old syntaxes for creating a route. You specify the name of the controller, this is test controller, followed by the action inside that controller that is going to be executed when the user sends a GET request to the root location in this case, or any path that you have here. Now, before to check this, we need to verify that we already have the test controller created and the hello action. So let's use PHP artisan make controller. And this is going to be called, as I said, test controller. Now, once it is created, we need to go to app HTTP controllers, and there is of course test controller, and there we need to create a public function which is going to be called hello, which is the action that we created for this specific route. So once it is there, we just need to return the view containing the welcome view. There it is. Now, what can we expect to get once we go to our browser? Just for that, be sure that you are executing PHP artisan cert. So let's do it. Of course, you can use any other web server that you prefer. And if we go to our browser, to that IP address, there is it. Test controller does not exist. In fact, it exists, but Laravel is not resolving that correctly because we are using the old syntaxes. So how can we upgrade, or let's say update our syntaxes now? Well, we just need to go to our routes and eventually transform this to something different. Results that after Laravel 8, you need to change the syntaxes from a regular string with the add syntaxes to an array. So we will have two different positions here, where the first position is the namespace of that specific controller, and the second position is the name of the action. Basically, we removed the add, it is not required anymore. And once again, the first position is the full namespace of the controller, and the second is the action. Now, there are two possibilities here. As I said, you need the full namespace here. So you can issue app HTTP controllers test controller, and that is going to work. Or you can just import the definition, which is going to come essentially from the same location, app HTTP controllers test controller. So once we have this, as the first one is commented, we can go back and refresh, and there you have. At this point, you upgraded a route from the version 7 or previous of Laravel to the version 8 or higher. Now, once again, the differences are basically these. In the second parameter, instead of passing a string with that special syntaxes, you are passing an array with the first position. Once again, with the controller namespace, this is why we use class, and the second one with the action in that specific controller. Another kind of things like the name of the route, any middleware, graphs, etc. still working exactly the same. So you don't need to change them if you don't want. But once again, the only change is here in the second parameter. Anything else is going to be working exactly the same. Now, some of you might find this a little, let's say, tricky. But what is the reason of this? Why Laravel made that change? Well, this is to improve your development experience, because when you have a regular string, here you can, let's say, jump to the definition of the controller easily. This is a string. So your IDE or your code editor cannot resolve this to something. But here, as it is the class, and this is a special syntax, you can see how, in my case, with Sublime, we can jump directly to the test controller definition, which is going to make our life easier. This is not exactly a big change. This is not exactly something that is going to save you hours and hours of development. But once you are used to this, you can jump easily instead of using the strings. Now, what happens if you prefer the strings? It is nothing that you can do. Well, I have good news for you, because the way as it works will allow you to still preserve the original syntaxes if you want. So let me to comment this line, which means that we can go back to the original error. And now we are going to resolve that in the route service provider. So let's go there to app providers route service provider. And there you can see how Laravel in the boot method is resolving the API and the web routes, the API.php and web.php. So here you can see how we are applying the middleware, of course, specifying what is the file with the routes, and something very important, the namespace. The namespace is basically what namespace is going to use Laravel to resolve the base, or basically the location of your controller. So if we go and check, currently the namespace attribute is commented, which means it is by default null. But if we remove this comment, we are for now saying that the namespace for every single controller in our routes will come from app HTTP controller. So that means if I refresh here, the error is going to be resolved. And you can, as you see, preserve the old syntaxes, the previous syntaxes before Laravel 8. Now, which of those can you prefer? Because if you use the original syntaxes, this is going to work exactly the same, because we are importing the definition of test controller. But if I remove that definition, you can see how this is not going to work. So basically, you can use both of them, but preferably to be consistent, you need to decide between one or the other. So which one could you use? Doesn't matter. It is up to you. It is a matter of taste. So you can use the first one if you prefer to keep this simple, to don't use and importing different definition of the controllers, or you can use the second one. It means after Laravel 8 or superior, which means that you can jump directly to the definition, but you need to be sure to import the definition or use the full namespace here. So that's all. At this point, you know why and how to upgrade from the previous syntaxes of Laravel 8 for the routes to the new syntaxes after Laravel 8. That's all. You can see, once again, this is just a matter of changing the second parameter in the call to route get or any verb of the HTTP protocol. See you in following videos.